Tonight, fire bans are in place right across the province as water bombers work to fight fires burning in Churchill Falls and Labrador West. That story and come July, power rates are on the rise and what it means for your monthly power bill.
What they're feeling varies person to person, but the most common feedback is overall just goodness.
Destigmatizing the use of ketamine, how that drug is being used to treat patients with PTSD and depression.
There was one shell found in a backyard back in 1942 and nothing since then. It's surprising. It's definitely surprising.
A lobster fisherman makes a rare catch, an apparent military shell that's being called one hell of a risk.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Heather Gillis, filling in for Carolyn Stokes this week. In just a couple of weeks, people in the province will be paying more for their power bills. Bills will go up 7% in about 2 weeks' time, starting July 1st. Many customers can expect about a $15 monthly increase. The Public Utilities Board says Newfoundland Power originally asked for an 8.5% increase, while the province directed Newfoundland and Labrador Hydro to increase its rate by 2.25% to recover costs. In an effort to gradually increase electricity rates, the PUB has set the increase at 7% as opposed to the 15% the increase would have otherwise been. A number of fire bans are in place in the province, including in Labrador West and Wabush. The Labrador West regional landfill was shut down today after a fire broke out at the site. And as you can see in these photos here from Keith Fitzpatrick, a water bomber is being used to help fight that fire. The fire was contained this afternoon, according to the town. It's not considered a forest fire. However, the forest fire hazard index in that part of the province is high, and so are concerns over the wind. The fire ban, however, means that there are no fireworks allowed, no backyard fire pits, no wood or coal burning barbecues allowed. And a wildfire burning near the ski hill in Churchill Falls has residents nervous. Helicopters from Newfoundland and Labrador Hydro are dropping water on that fire, and the province has dispatched a helicopter, a water bomber, and a ground crew to assist. The Department of Forestry says there's no immediate risk to the public. However, residents are reportedly lining up for gas in anticipation of a possible evacuation. Last month, a wildfire threatened some critical infrastructure at the generating station there in Churchill Falls, but it was contained by firefighters. 2 people were rescued from a vehicle that went over a cliff in Portugal Cove St. Philip Sunday. The high-angle rescue team was called to the ferry terminal after 2 seniors went off the road yesterday. The couple were trapped in a crevice about 8 feet from the ocean. A man and woman were taken to hospital, with the woman in the vehicle sustaining more serious injuries. Beachy Cove Road was closed for a while, and a tow truck worked to remove the car. Police are asking witnesses or anyone with video footage to come forward. Meanwhile, we have video from a car fire on the Avalon. The incident happened near Peacekeepers Way in Conception Bay South, delaying traffic in the area this morning. Not much information is available about the incident yet, but this drone video shows the car in ruins as drivers pass by and police direct traffic all around the vehicle. Well, the province says it's one big step closer to building a replacement for Her Majesty's Penitentiary in St. John's, while the opposition parties say it's hard to take this latest timeline for a new facility seriously. Here and Now's Mark Quinn has that story.
A digger broke ground for the cameras as politicians gave an update on plans to build a new penitentiary.
Last week, we issued a preferred proponent letter to new Avalon Correction partners who are represented here today, signaling that government has accepted their request for proposal submission and is ready to begin finalizing the project agreement.
In 2019, the province announced construction of a new facility would begin in 2022, and it would cost less than $400 million to build. Now, the transportation minister says the new penitentiary will cost almost $700 million to build, and the date inmates will leave this Victorian-era facility is still a moving target.
And in terms of construction, from those who do the work, it's about 50 months. So you're looking at about in sometime in 2029 that this facility will be here and will be operational.
It's laughable. It really is laughable. How can we take this seriously?
The opposition's justice critic questioned the timing and motivation of the event.
Here we are today, another photo op, and one has only to ask the question and wonder if this is really just about the fact that we are on the brink of a provincial election, and it is election bait. It's election fodder.
But Minister Haggie suggested that's not why today's announcement was made.
This is not necessarily going to be a vote winner, it's not necessarily going to be popular, but is the right thing to do and needs to be done now.
In January 2024, the province reissued a request for qualifications for the new facility after construction costs skyrocketed. The new 28,000 square meter penitentiary promises to have 300 beds. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
In other news, more veterans are turning to ketamine therapy for relief from trauma and depression, with the province's first 2 clinics open in St. John's and Gander. The CBC's Julia Israel has been looking into this new treatment and brings us this feature report.
So I was on basically every pill you can imagine.
Jason Farrell was an RCMP officer. He left the force in 2017 after a decade of service with severe PTSD.
None of that was working for me. Plus, I ended up putting on over 100 pounds, which I've got gone now. And the ketamine was the only thing that would actually make me feel better.
Enter ketamine. It's a common surgical anesthetic, and it's now being used for treatment-resistant depression and for those suffering from PTSD.
They give us feedback that they have busy heads all the time. There's always chatter in there. And the biggest thing that we hear is all that noise just stops. Not only during their session, but for a couple days afterwards. And it just allows them to, just relax a little bit, reflect on their experiences, and really just dive in a little bit deeper into what's going on in their lives.
Canada's drug agency says that antidepressants don't work for 22% of Canadians treated for depression. So in 2019, Health Canada approved a prescription nasal spray called Spravato, and that's what a lot of ketamine clinics are using. We're seeing more and more Canadians turn to ketamine therapy, especially veterans who can get it reimbursed by Veterans Affairs. Dozens of people in the province have been opting in. The research is still ongoing, but Dr. Roger McIntyre, who studies mood disorders at the University of Toronto, says that it can be transformative.
What in fact is occurring in individuals living with mental disorders, including not limited to trauma, is something's gone awry with those brain circuits, those networks, the wiring system. What ketamine does is it offers rapid correction of that circuit network system. That sets the stage then for people then to engage with a counselor or therapist or what have you to further those gains.
But ketamine also has a reputation as a psychedelic and a street drug, which means it's not always taken seriously.
There's many examples in medicine where we have a medication indicated for use for a particular medication, and then only later we find out it has other benefits, and then the medication is then developed for those other conditions as well. No one contests that Ozempic's been a tremendous advance for diabetes and obesity, but ketamine's been the biggest transformation in psychiatric treatment in 7 decades, and yet it still struggles with reputation, I would say, public relations.
A research review by Canada's drug agency says it'll take more time and more studies before it can determine that ketamine is an effective therapy long term. But Dr. McIntyre says we don't have any time to wait.
I think it's really a case of we have an extraordinary burden of mental illness in our society. The current conventional treatments have been very helpful, but for many, many people, they're not. And we need something new. And I think ketamine represents one of these types of newer treatments.
Hundreds of Canadian veterans and dozens of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians are finding relief.
Just happier, easier to get along with my kids, family, life doesn't seem so heavy. and you get off the couch a bit more. I don't know, it's hard to explain when you have, you know, a difference in the light inside your head, right? It's a little brighter. That's what you feel like, to me.
Julia Israel, CBC News, St. John's.
People with connections to Iran and Israel living in this province are watching from a distance as those two countries enter a fourth day of conflict. And for two St. John's residents, the concern for their loved ones is top of mind. Here and Now's Maddie Ryan has more.
Israel and Iran have been trading airstrikes for 4 days now. The conflict started with a surprise attack by Israel Friday, launched amid concerns that Iran is close to producing a nuclear weapon. Aysan has been watching it all unfold from her home in Newfoundland and Labrador. She's originally from Iran. CBC News isn't using her last name to protect her identity. Aysan says she's feeling some relief.
A lot of top IRGC officials have been eliminated, and those were the ones that ordered killing a lot of people during the protest. So there is a sense of happiness, and it's not just from me. I've been talking to my family in Iran or the community here, and most people feel that happiness and relief. But of course, we are worried about our families.
Dean Barnes of St. John's can relate to that stress. He has extended family in central Israel.
This morning going to work and with colleagues, how was your weekend? And it's completely different reality. I'm worried about family. And especially when I found out this morning that 4 people were killed in their hometown, and then waiting to hear the news that they were safe. It's so different from, oh yeah, I got up this morning, got the kids ready for school, and we were running late,
Barnes says his family is safe. As of Monday morning, at least 24 have been killed in Israel and 224 in Iran since Friday. Aysan says civilians aren't being targeted, but part of her feels guilty for being so far away.
It is a mixture of survivor's guilt because I'm not with my family. Of course, they are going through this, and I'm just watching from a distance. But yeah, it's survivor's guilt because I'm here. I can't do anything about it.
Iran's morality police were responsible for the arrest and killing of Mahsa Amini in 2022, sparking worldwide protests over state violence against women. Aysan hopes the current conflict with Israel will spark positive change as the Islamic Republic weakens. Barnes has the same wishes.
And the war is not with them. They're our brothers and sisters. The war is with the regime. And it's a common enemy for both us as Jews as well as for Iranians.
Maddie Ryan, CBC News, St. John's.
The miners are a family, and they have to take care of each other.
It's truly an honor as a Newfoundlander to be able to go out there and bring back a representation of all the Newfoundlanders that weren't able to come back.
Love the world around you because it does shimmer with the impossible sometimes made possible.
Heather mentioned the fire ban in Labrador West, and there are bans in effect on the Avalon too, in St. John's, Mount Pearl, and Paradise. And then Portugal Cove, St. Phillips, and Conception Bay South also have fire bans in place until at least Thursday. And while propane fire pits and barbecues are permitted, fire departments are urging residents to keep a hose or fire extinguisher nearby. Not surprising, it has been fairly dry and warm through the weekend. Today, no different. Lots of sunshine, 20 degrees in St. John's. Temperatures through Central even warmer than that, 22 to 24 degrees this afternoon. Unfortunately, the onshore flow is keeping temperatures cool on the south coast of the island, along with some fog. And then Labrador, finally seeing some showers. You're going to see more as we head through the night tonight. Temperatures still sitting in the 20s, though. They'll stick around through tomorrow. Expect those showers to move through. A few showers tomorrow across the island, maybe even a few rumbles of thunder. And then we've got some more rain later this week. I'll break it all down for you coming up a little later.
Welcome back. A stunning discovery in the water near Bell Island this weekend. A fisherman pulled up an unexploded live shell from deep below the surface. Neil Burgess with the Newfoundland and Labrador Shipwreck Preservation Society calls it exciting, but also dangerous.
It's surprising. It's definitely surprising. It's been, what, 80 odd years since the, U-boat attacks happened at Bell Island. And at the time, there was a bunch of shells that were found ashore, actually in backyards in St. Philip's. And I think what happened is some of the ships were firing shells from they had a stern gun on the back of the ship, and they were firing shells at the water at what they thought might be the submarine. And the shells actually skipped off the water and went up into somebody's backyard. But this time it looks like a shell was fired at the water and actually just ended up underwater just near shore.
Where do you think it might have come from?
It looks like it might be roughly a 4-inch shell, and it's just the warhead. The big brass casing that would have been hooked onto it with all the propellant in it, that's not there. So I think this shell was probably fired out of one of the cannons. And looking at the historical records, the Navy reports and that, I would guess it's probably the first attack that happened at Bell Island on the 5th of September in 1942. And it was the middle of the day, and a German submarine came into the Tickle and sunk 2 of the ships. And there were 4 other ships around the Tickle. 2 of them were out by Little Bell Island, and 2 of them were loading at the ore loading piers on Bell Island. Some of those ships were firing they had 4-inch cannons on them, and they were firing them, at whatever they saw in the water they thought might be the submarine. And like I said, shells were going in all directions. And one of those shells ended up sinking in the water right near Lance Cove, near the shore. And that's what the fishermen found the other day.
Given the wartime history in that area, how common is a discovery like this, Neil?
It's not. I mean, there was, like I said, 1 shell found in a backyard back in 1942, and nothing since then. The Canadian Navy has been here a couple of times, I think a year before COVID and the year right after COVID, and they were taking shells off the 4 shipwrecks that are sunk down on the bottom, because each of those ships had a stern gun, like I was mentioning, and they had about 50 shells on board. And the Navy thought it'd be 2 reasons mainly: partly good practice for them, dealing with explosives and making them safe, and partly to make those shipwrecks a little safer for all the recreational divers that are diving on them every year. So they came 2 summers and cleared off all those shells and blew them up down on a rifle range down near Mackeson's.
This is a pretty busy area, from the ferry going back and forth the Tickle all the time. You've got fishermen, people with pleasure craft from other places in Conception Bay. What should people do if anyone is out on that area and they find something like this?
Well, to be honest, my advice would be do not pick anything up that you think might be explosive or an old World War II explosive. Don't pick it up. They're dangerous still. There's a chance they might go off. Call up the RNC or the RCMP and tell them that you found something that looks like an explosive. And if you can get a GPS location on your phone using Google Map, do that. And that'll give them the exact location of where to come and look for it. And they'll send the bomb disposal unit out, and they'll take care of it professionally.
Neil, how dangerous could a shell like this be?
It's like, I'm not an expert in military ordnance. The shell looked like it had the fuse in it, so it was fired that way. So potentially the fuse has the detonator in it that would set the shell off. It might go off, but the fact that it's been lying on the bottom for 80 years and hasn't blown up makes me think it's not likely, but if it ever did, it would kill anybody nearby. So you just don't want to take that chance.
Okay, Neil, thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, you bet. Glad to talk to you.
Hills.
Welcome back. Premier John Hogan is in Boston today. He's part of a delegation of Canadian premiers meeting with governors from northeastern United States. The goal is to forge alliances with states like Massachusetts and Maine in the face of President Donald Trump's ongoing trade war. Hogan used his time with his U.S. counterparts to pitch Newfoundland and Labrador's vast energy resources.
But it is a great opportunity for me to talk about how Newfoundland and Labrador fits into the energy conversation, not only in our province and the Atlantic region, but with the northeastern states as well. People have mentioned that the neighbors of Quebec are sending transmission and power down through to that province through Hydro-Quebec, and Hydro-Quebec was mentioned as well. But important for everybody to realize a lot of the energy that's coming through Quebec does come from the Churchill River in Labrador, in Newfoundland and Labrador. And of course, we have a historic partnership now where we're upgrading some facilities and building brand new facilities along with Hydro-Quebec and NL Hydro to essentially double the production on that river from about 5,000 to 9,500 megawatts. So we do have an opportunity to continue to develop green energy options in our province, and with partnership through Quebec and through our neighbors there, we can certainly work with our neighbors in this part of this country as well. And I think Newfoundland and Labrador, we're not ready to stop there. When we met with the Prime Minister and the First Ministers 2 weeks ago, I know Premier Houston spoke a lot about it on our behalf. Energy East Partnership is the way he phrased it. And if we can get together in the Atlantic region and develop energy opportunities, I don't think we should stop there. We can continue to go down into this part of the country as well. We all have different opportunities in terms of transmission and generation assets that we can contribute to such a partnership. And in our province, we certainly have hydroelectricity. We have natural gas offshore, and we have onshore wind as well. So tremendous opportunities for our part of the country, our part of the region in Canada to work in close collaboration with our neighbors here in the States.
Time for a look at your weather forecast now. And Ashley, it's fair to say that we had an absolutely beautiful weekend. But things are getting a little bit dry. If you go out and take a look at the ground, you can see it breaking and cracking, and then we're hearing of fires in Churchill Falls and Labrador West. What's our fire risk like right now?
Yeah, it doesn't take much for everything to dry out. We just need a couple of sunny days, dry days, and some milder temperatures. But yeah, let's take a look at the fire risk today. This is, there's a whole lot of high and very high on this map here. Just the southeastern portion of Labrador really seeing the low fire risk at this point, and this will likely continue for the next couple of days before we start to see any significant rain move in. Now, I'll just show you the amount of rain that's expected over the next couple of days up across Labrador. That's where it's mainly going to be for at least today through to Wednesday. There are some pockets of between 10 to 20 millimeters possible. And then as we head through the end of the week, we've got our next weather maker that's going to move in. Now, this is just one model's interpretation of what's going to happen. There's a little bit of disagreement on where we see the heaviest rainfall. Some other models have this a little bit further south across the island. But at this point, we are expecting some more rain from the Thursday through to Saturday timeframe, which is obviously great news for most of us across the island and up across Labrador as well. It's still beautiful temperature-wise for Happy Valley Goose Bay. You're sitting at about 22 degrees right now, even towards Cartwright 21. We do have that much cooler air moving in, though, for Lab City, and it's going to be a fairly chilly night. Once you say goodbye to these showers through the overnight, things will clear out. And then across the island overall, still sitting in the upper teens, low 20s. And then for the south coast, where you're in onshore flow temperatures, obviously a little cooler, been socked in fog for most of the south coast today. In and out for the southern Avalon, but you're at about 10 degrees in Burgeo right now. So if we take a look, there's that fog that I was talking about on the south coast, all of those cloud cover and then showers moving in across the big land as well. And it's because of a couple of areas of low pressure that we're dealing with. And this is where most of our weather is going to come from as we head through the next 24 hours. So there's those showers in Lab West. We'll head towards Churchill Falls. Good news for tonight. And then more showers towards central areas of Labrador and then towards the coast. Most of the island overnight tonight going to be fairly nice with generally clear skies. For the most part, we'll see some increasing cloud as we head towards the morning. Then the northern peninsula looking at that potential for a few showers tomorrow to start the day. But overall, our overnight lows tonight, that cool air still in Lab West, like I was mentioning, about 2 degrees. Otherwise, between 5 to 10 will be the rest for the rest of the big land. Northern Peninsula, you're in the single digits, as will be the south coast and the Avalon. Otherwise, temperatures tonight will be between 11 and 13 degrees. And those winds will be out of the southwest, gusting somewhere between 20 to as much as 40 kilometers per hour. Now, as we head into tomorrow, the front will move through. This is going to spark some showers for the northern peninsula, west coast of the island, and coastal areas of Labrador. You're still going to see some lingering showers through the first part of the day, but then that should clear out. Then those showers will head towards central areas of the island, particularly along the northeast coast there, and then they should move off through the day. But with those showers comes the risk of some thunderstorms. We'll see some more showers move in for those of you in Lab West, though, by the time we get into tomorrow morning. There's that risk, slight chance, but still there. You may hear a few rumbles of thunder into the afternoon when those showers move through. Again, from Green Bay, White Bay area through to Bonavista North. Your temperatures tomorrow will sit in the upper teens, low 20s. A brisk wind out of the southwest, somewhere between 40 to 50 kilometers per hour, but not till later in the day further east. Southern areas of the island, again, cooler, 11 to 13 degrees as your daytime highs. And then for Labrador, generally sitting somewhere in the mid to upper teens, with the exception of the north coast where you'll hover around 9 degrees. And again, those showers, they'll be early, and then you'll see some sunshine. I'll get into the long-range forecast a little later.
Thank you, Ashley. Many of this province's mega projects are in their final stages of development or have already finished up, and that is putting some commercial trade workers in a precarious position. The CBC's Jenna Head reports.
The West White Rose concrete gravity structure, Western Memorial Regional Hospital, the new adult mental health and addictions facility. These are only a few of the mega projects completed or near completion across Newfoundland and Labrador. And with those coming to an end, thousands of local commercial trade workers are left with two choices: go on EI or chase the next big gig elsewhere.
Currently, we have just over 70%, unfortunately, unemployed in Newfoundland and Labrador today.
Work may be drying up here, but some Trades NL members are finding their work elsewhere. Of its 14,000 employees, Parsons estimates that half are working for other provinces, meaning Newfoundland and Labrador's labor surplus is benefiting provinces like Ontario in their skilled labor shortages.
So with our affiliates, we're able to dispatch people into other provinces to secure employment, but as we all know that our men and women rather be working closer to home here in Newfoundland and Labrador.
The province is currently between projects. With several major projects complete, all eyes are now set on what's down the road. The province is recruiting high school students to work in the trades, but for those graduating now, entry-level training for commercial construction is limited.
We wouldn't want to be bringing people into the trades today, unsure if there will be a job for them tomorrow.
Trades NL says the future is still bright for skilled trade workers 2 to 3 years out, and the province's jobs minister is determined that its workers now away will come back.
Forward thinking is what's going to get those tradespeople back in our province.
Meanwhile, one economist warns that the industry should be careful where it focuses its energy and resources.
Sometimes we call this a winner's curse, right? In the sense that, you're well endowed for those natural resources. And that might create some kind of short-term focus, right? For example, a high school student might drop out, pick up those jobs when it's coming through. But when we run out of those kind of resources, what are they going to do?
For now, the province and Trades NL are optimistic about the future as it looks to start construction on what it calls shovel-ready projects. Jenna Head, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, last week we told you about some local gymnasts who won big at the recent national championships. Brady Parsons bounced his way to a gold medal in the individual trampoline event. Ben Fudge picked up a silver medal in the individual trampoline and went on to take gold in mixed synchro. Gwen McKay teamed up with Maya Rogers to win a silver medal at the women's individual synchro in the competition. Congratulations, everyone. Correctional officers, firefighters, and police officers were battling it out over the weekend on the court. It was part of the first Battle of the Badges basketball tournament, all about strengthening community spirit and shoring up support for the gathering place.
We have a bunch of people here of all skill levels. We got people who are Division I basketball players, and we have people who haven't played in the last 30 years. We started out with just having one team, and because we had so much response at the penitentiary, we had to have two teams. Like we have players come out from the LCC, Labrador Correctional Centre, and we had a player come out from Stephenville. Overwhelming response to get players into this, and I think it's only going to grow into more. We all have one common goal, and that's that we're here to help people. That's the main goal of all the organizations, and the Gathering Place is a great resource. Like when I was doing my correctional officer training program, we volunteered there for a day, so I got to see the behind the scenes of it all. They serve 3 hot meals a day, they house people, they have computers there for people, there's counseling. It's just a tremendous resource. There's so many different options that they have there. So we thought that that was a very valuable part of the community, and we wanted to give back.
I'm actually terrible at basketball. It's just been a great number of years since I played the game, but we get to have some fun with some of our community partners there and develop a little bit more cooperation, respect, and just a little bit of friendship between the services there, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. The Gathering Place is a fantastic initiative there. It helps a lot of people there through various means there. They offer training, they offer resources there. If nothing else, it's hot meals, it's a little bit of counseling. It's a great spot that, really does a lot to help the, entire person.
We wouldn't be able to do what we do without the auxiliary support of people who wear a badge and help us in our community. But what came to be very special about this event is that, not only are they helping us at a professional level, but now they're helping us raise the money we need to do the support and services at the Gathering Place. Maybe a couple of years ago, we were probably serving 200-300 meals a day. Now we're pushing 500-600 meals a day. So and that's probably our biggest program, the food service. People are hungry. We do a lot of other things as well. We have a shelter now. We have transitional housing as well as supportive housing. That, along with all the other wraparound services that we have, help people not only get back on their feet, but thrive. And all the people who wear a badge from a distance and from an auxiliary perspective help us support that from every single day.
We have more tonight on a story we brought you last week, how female firefighters from the St. John's Regional Fire Department are making history. The CBC's Peter Cowan visited the station to meet the team and learn about what an all-female crew means in a profession still dominated by men.
For the 33 years Gina Burke has fought fires, she's used to being the odd woman out. But with her career coming to an end next year, there was one thing she wanted to accomplish.
We just said, oh my God, wouldn't it be great to get all the girls together? We're starting to get to a point now where we have enough girls that we'd be able to man a station.
For one day, in one station, there wasn't a man in sight. From captain all the way down to the most junior officer, it was all women.
It will be challenging. It's challenging in both aspects, just working with all men.
Burke is used to making firsts happen. She was the first female firefighter the St. John's Fire Department ever hired in 1992. She was the first female captain. But decades later, only 1 in every 10 firefighters are women.
I don't think we needed to prove to each other. I think it was more of a prove to people outside the department, maybe even some people in the department, that, that probably don't believe in women being in the male-dominated occupation.
There's still that old school mentality, that boys' club.
And they proved themselves in a busy shift with medical calls and even a house fire. And after decades of blazing a trail, there was pride that came in seeing women excel.
As soon as the girls got off the truck, I knew we were solid. Like, they just outperformed a great percentage of the men in the job. They gave more than I would even ask for, and I just have such a feeling of pride. It's unexplainable.
Gina Burke's only regret that this may not happen again before she retires next year. Peter Cowan, CBC News, St. John's.
Let's return to Boston now, where Canadian premiers are meeting with some U.S. governors from the northeastern states. The CBC's Megan Fitzpatrick has more on what's on the table.
The Canadian flag was on display outside the Massachusetts state legislature today, while inside, Canadian premiers and U.S. governors sat down to talk about the trade war raging between their countries. People are coming from all over. The premiers of Ontario, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Newfoundland and Labrador, and Prince Edward Island, along with Quebec's economic minister, came to Boston at the invitation of Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey and the other East Coast governors. The point? To discuss the impact of the tariffs on their respective jurisdictions and to talk about how they can strengthen trade ties despite the trade war. The governors acknowledged the frayed relationship between the two countries right now, and they said they understand why some Canadians are choosing to avoid travel to the U.S.
We want them to come back to our country, but we understand the anger that they feel. Our relationship suffers, and it shouldn't. And we do respect Canadians and the country, the sovereign country of Canada.
The governors of Maine, New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Vermont said the drop in tourism is having a serious impact on their economies. They want to get the message across to Canadians that they don't share the 51st state rhetoric from President Donald Trump, and they hope to see Canadians in their states soon. New Brunswick's premier had a message for Americans.
You got to make noise. You got to tell your leader that this is hurting the American economy, that this is hurting jobs in the U.S. Canadians can't pass that message for you.
These kinds of meetings have been going on between East Coast governors and premiers for decades. For this one, they said there was a sense of urgency given the trade war, and they described their discussion today as sobering and eye-opening. Nova Scotia's Premier Tim Houston was realistic about the impact this group can have on Trump's trade policies.
There's just certain things that are outside of our control. We can't control what people tweet in the middle of the night. But there are things that are within our control, and that's where we should work together.
So while the meetings here in Boston were focused on areas of cooperation, the governors and the premiers were saying they're keeping a close eye on the meetings in Canada between Trump and Prime Minister Mark Carney, hoping there will be some kind of resolution. Ontario Premier Doug Ford summarized his hope this way: let's get a deal. Megan Fitzpatrick, CBC News, Boston.
The federal government has unveiled the Canada Strong Pass to promote domestic tourism this summer. It offers families free or discounted rates to natural and cultural attractions across the country.
This pass is about discovering and reconnecting with nature, history, and culture of this remarkable country we all share.
It includes free admission to Parks Canada sites and reduced rates on camping fees from June 20th to September 2nd. Kids under 18 can enjoy free admission to national museums and travel at no cost with an adult on Via Rail. Ottawa says it aims to make experiences within Canada more accessible to families. No registration or physical pass is required. Visitors from abroad are also invited to take advantage of the offer. Welcome back to Here and Now. Ticks are showing up in more places and earlier in the season, carrying disease risks with them. The CBC's Joanna Wagstaff looks at how climate change may be making matters worse, and public health experts say it's time to pay attention.
No one likes to see these little guys coming, but unfortunately, they're not just a summer problem anymore, and they're not just an Eastern Canada thing either. This year, you'll find them in more places, but not all ticks come with the same problems. Here's where to be on the lookout and what you need to know depending on where you live. So ticks used to hang out mainly in southern Ontario, but they're expanding their range, especially the black-legged lime-carrying variety. Now, they're in almost every southern province. Thanks to climate change, these 8-legged arachnids, yes, they're cousins of spiders, are moving north and west fast, around 50 kilometers per year. Warmer winters mean more ticks survive the cold. Ideally, it stays above 4 degrees for them. So longer springs and falls give them extra time to feed and breed. One well-fed female can lay up to 3,000 eggs. Plus, their hitchhiking hosts, deer, mice, birds, they're moving north too. This year, Eastern Canada had a mild winter and a damp spring, basically perfect tick weather. In places like New Brunswick, researchers are finding huge numbers of ticks.
Depending where you are, the percentage of ticks that are infected as you go further north, it can be as low as 15%. When you're the south, southern Ontario, southern Nova Scotia, middle of Nova Scotia, 70-80%. It's kind of appalling.
Okay, but here's the part that really gets me. They're basically crawling bags of pathogens. Lyme is the big one, but they can also spread other viruses too, sometimes multiple infections from just one bite. If you're in BC though, the picture is a little different. Ticks are on the rise, but Lyme rates have stayed low. Less than 1% of ticks tested carry that bacteria. That's partly thanks to different species, different hosts, and different vegetation here. It's a similar story across the southern prairies. Most ticks don't carry the virus, but numbers are climbing. So Canada doesn't track ticks nationally in real time, but apps like eTick show a clear spike in reports this year. It's not perfect data, but it's telling. People are noticing and uploading a lot. So what can you do? Stick to trails, wear long socks, check for ticks after you've been outside, especially on kids and dogs. And if you find a tick on you, basically a freckle with legs, don't panic. The tick usually needs to be attached for over 24 hours to transmit the disease. Use tweezers, grab the tick as close to your skin as possible and pull straight out. Clean the bite area, keep an eye on the bite site for rash or flu-like symptoms, and see a doctor if anything feels off. I leave you with very good news. One day soon, we hope to have a vaccine. Scientists are working on it. Until then, enjoy the outdoors, just be tick smart.
So speaking of those ticks there, I have found one on my dog before, the blackleg variety that can carry Lyme. So they do make their way to this province as well. So Ashley, what's in store over the next couple of days now for our weather forecast?
Some rain, which is great news as we head into the long range forecast. We will see, a fairly, nice amount. Let's take a look at what's going on, particularly up across Labrador. As we head into Wednesday morning, we'll start to see some showers move in, which could be heavy at times through Wednesday morning as we head into central areas of Labrador. Then another round will move through with this area of low pressure staying to the north. As far as the island portion of the province goes, generally cloudy. A few showers certainly possible here and there through the day as well, but really not until later in the afternoon, or later in the evening rather, for the northern peninsula. So temperatures will vary, generally sitting in the upper teens, low 20s for a good chunk of the island, except along the south coast. Again, we're in southerly flow. That will keep temperatures cool. For Labrador, other than the north coast, where you'll sit in the single digits, temperatures for you should be sitting in the upper teens again, low 20s through the afternoon. Again, the best chance of rain, though, will be for Labrador. As we head into the evening hours and overnight, most of those showers will move through along the island portion of the province and through Thursday morning. We're going to still be hanging on to some of that shower activity through the day, and then another round at this point looking like it'll move in again for Lab West. overall temperatures, again, staying pretty similar to where we've been for most of the week, with temperatures again single digits for the north coast, and then upper teens, low 20s for the rest of the Big Land and across the island portion of the province as well. Except along the Strait, you're an onshore flow, your temperatures would stay on the cool side as well through the afternoon on Thursday. And then as we look ahead to the long range, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, at this point looking a little rainy, and a fairly significant drop in temperatures on Saturday as well. 10 degrees might be a little too warm, but at this point, that's where I'm going to leave it. Your single digits through the overnight for St. John's and eastern Newfoundland. Periods of rain really for Friday, and then Saturday will just be some showers. At least it looks like at this point. For central Newfoundland, you are looking at your drop in temperatures as well. Not quite as dramatic, but still into the low mid-teens, I guess. And then for western Newfoundland as well, your overnight lows will be sitting in the single digits. And pretty much rainy for the 3 days. As we head into eastern Labrador, you're looking at your temperatures in the teens, few showers possible by Friday morning. And then for western Labrador, you'll see your showers by the time we get into Saturday, with your temperatures sitting in the teens. Our weather photo today, taken on the west coast Bay of Islands. Another beautiful sunset photo. I mean, they're just perfect. Thank you, Connie, for that great shot. If you have any weather photos that you would like to share with us, we'd love to see them. Send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
What a view. It looks like it could be in a calendar or something. It's a really great shot, Connie.
We have so many, so many vistas like that in this province.
So lucky to live in such a beautiful province here.
Are we ever?
In Newfoundland and Labrador. But it looks like maybe we'll be getting our Capeland weather with a bit of rain on the way.
That's what I said. We'll see.
We'll see.
They're close. The whales are coming.
That's right. We hear about them in St. Vincent. So maybe they'll start rolling soon.
Hopefully.
All right. That's our show for this evening. Thanks so much for being with us. Good night.
Good night.